Hey, how's it going? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is Chess with Investors. And we've got our first power couple today. We've got Chad and Jen, Chad Freeman. I guess we'll start with you just because your name's first. Chad, how you doing today?
Doing great, man. How are you, Dan?
Excellent. I'm pretty good. And Jen, how about you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Excellent, excellent. And you're both a real estate couple in two different areas. I know that Jen, you said that you're flipping houses these days. Chad, you're doing the mobile home parks. And as far as getting this all started here, I know that it's asking you a bunch of questions and all that kind of stuff. Just a little note: whoever starts out as white has to move, or else it will automatically abort. But while Chad's figuring that out, Jen, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit for the audience?
So I am newer to the real estate industry. I actually just started flipping homes. We are in the middle of our first project, and our goal is to get up to 4 a month. So right now we're just focused on connecting with people, networking, trying to find cash providers, trying to find wholesalers, any way that we can build the business. So we're expecting to have a lot done by the end of the year. So we're really looking forward to kind of seeing the progress in the new business.
Excellent, excellent. And of course, I remembered that on this platform, if I don't use my headphones, we get all sorts of echo. So hopefully that just fixed right there. So that's probably a lot better. So Chad, how about you? Do you want to introduce yourself while you're setting up your account and getting the game started?
Sure. That thing's hanging me up. We got to go back to the screen to get it set up. But for my introduction, Chad Freeman, I've talked to you before. I think we met on the Georgia's CRE meetup.
Sounds like something I do, yeah.
Yeah, because I always saw your 506b.me or whatever, and you came to mind. So I'm really glad I went to those because I'm kind of in a unique position right now. I am coming from mobile home parks, which I could talk about for the next year if you want to, but that's kind of not why we contacted you. My mobile home park business is it's frozen up and it's coming to the end of being frozen pretty much because I'm finalizing a divorce. So everything's coming to a really all we see is opportunity now. And so I'm able to pour my energy into just running our portfolio that we have, but we can't grow it anymore for a little bit. I'm excited to jump back and grow it when we can, but in the meantime, she gets all of me going into putting together a home flipping business. And right now we're running into initial hurdles with the startup business. We're actually trying to make a company, not be like a recreational flipper here and there. And so our hurdles now are starting to get our deal flow pipeline, which is pretty exciting, what we're looking at to get that going, and then cash providers too. So this 506B came to mind because I had a 506C, and it was really big and complicated to structure and expensive. And I'm hoping the 506B is not like that because we do have some people saying, we'll give you some cash, but it's all friends and family, so we can't advertise. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, man, we really need to talk to Dan.
Sweet. Yeah, exactly. Well, the most important thing in 506b.me, so 506b.me or 506bme.com, it does have an FAQs page and resources. The short version of it is you need to have documentation to your substantive relations before you start raising capital. Most people see something like Shark Tank and they see people trying to raise capital for their business and they think, oh, okay, so that's how it works. That sounds all hunky-dory. But the SEC says, oh, no, you don't. You really do have to have some sort of proof that you knew each other before the deal was started, or else they know that you're going to be publicly soliciting. And the other main benefit, there are two other main benefits of 506B. One of them is that you can take non-accredited investors, so you don't have to be a millionaire or making over 200K per year on your own to do it. But with a 506C, you can still advertise though, so that's the nice benefit. But you have to have a verification by some sort of professional, like an attorney or a CPA, proving that you do have the accredited status if you're going to be involved in that. So that's exciting stuff. Yeah. All right.
Well, we don't want to see this. I've already done it. See, I'm familiar with how to do that. We're curious about the B part of it, but we're still trying to get this to work. Did you get it to work?
No, you need to email it.
Oh, my
And your
email
Apple
or
ID.
phone number. Okay, sorry. I can't talk and try to set up this account at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny. I had some clients. So I got into real estate from the CRM industry. I worked for web.com, and then after I learned that there was much more opportunity if I opened up my own CRM agency and full stack development company. I ended up working for a bunch of different health professionals and things like that. And I remember one mentioning in particular that it's unhealthy for men to multitask, and they'd say that it's actually impossible. But this show is also to try and prove them wrong. It's nothing like having a podcast while trying to prevent somebody from kleptoing all your pieces. But so yeah, that's interesting stuff. And I don't know if you're a fan of a stand-up comedy, but whenever I think of divorce, there's always one piece that I think of, which is Louis C.K. mentioning that oh well, whenever somebody mentions divorce, they're like, oh that's terrible, I feel so bad for you, and he's of the mind to say it's like no, you should be celebrating, like yeah, good for you, because when do marriages end in divorce? When it's not really for the best, because that's what people are agreeing on. So I'm starting off with white, and what a great way to start. But I was actually going to mention a little bit earlier that maybe going through my LinkedIn or something like that, thinking of some questions for me might be easier, so I'm not distracting you the entire time. But it's your move with black. And feel free to discuss with each other on what you want to do for this opening. I think you might want to use your finger and not say it's like, oh, well, if we move the bishop there, then his knight can do blah, 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 because they don't know what you're saying. So
All
instead
right.
say maybe, yeah, move this over here. But yeah, it's your move. What are your thoughts on that, Chad? Is that you got 20 seconds to make your first move, though.
There,
There we
I'm
go. So do you have thoughts on that? You know, like I've heard plenty of different types of divorce. You know, ones where you end up, it's more or less amicable, but I'd say the majority of them are rather toxic as a whole. Make sure you stay a little bit politically correct because this is a podcast. But how you doing, Chad?
good, man.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
I know it's my turn, right? We just go when we feel like
Yes, it
it.
is.
But
Yeah,
chess
yeah.
is.
It's a 15-minute game. It's got 10-second increment.
There's
Oh
have
shoot.
a
Okay, we
time.
gotta
Yeah,
step it up.
I told you. Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's a little mind game. Now I'm starting to see the point of this. It's kind of cool.
See
Um,
people squirm, and I really enjoy it when people cuss me out. I think it's the funniest thing ever. So, but
all
there
right,
you go.
what's my
6 seconds
card?
better. Oh, there we go. Good, good.
Not supposed to say that.
You just said I enjoy when people cuss me out.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Good
So
stuff.
divorce is
Hmm.
crap. You don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So, but I learned a lot of mistakes, and what I hopefully cannot. I usually learn things the hard way. So, but with real estate, I try to learn more of what other people's mistakes, and same thing with life and with a divorce. But at the end of the day, I think we're off to a good setup for a really positive future. So
Hmm.
I'm excited to just be here and have energy to do real estate, and we've got a lot of fun energy to do this with. So how are you
Hmm.
doing, Dan? What's on in your life?
Good question. Yeah. So these days, it's funny. So if we go back about a year ago, I was getting out of a partnership. I was a GP on a property out in Texas, and so I wouldn't say that it was a bad breakup, but it's I would have rather that didn't happen. But the silver lining for me was definitely that. It got me involved into a debt fund. And the neat thing about getting involved in a debt fund is that while you are raising capital, you don't really have as much responsibility to explain underwriting. So with your mobile home background and Jen, your house flipping background, I'm sure that if you were thinking about involving friends or family or something like that in your deals, then it would cross your mind that, if people don't know that, for example, insurance can get out of hand, it won't, like it could double or triple, same with taxes, things like that. A lot of people, they don't really want to get involved with that level of detail. And so it's not the nicest thing to get people involved in that sort of deal. Whereas in a debt fund, what we're doing is we're taking accredited investors who have additional capital either because they're high income earners or because they have a higher net worth. And not everybody wants to babysit their money. Not everybody wants to be active in real estate. They don't want to be, like answering calls in the middle of the night to fix somebody's plumbing or anything like that. So when you're in a debt fund, though, the thing that's interesting is you just have to explain that you're lending out capital and at a higher than typical bank rate, and so that means there's a more or less reliable way, a business behind it for how those returns are going to come about. Interesting. Let's try this. So really, then it becomes a question of how to preserve capital, and the magic answer for that is that you
Wait, king can do that? I thought
that's the queen. Yeah, the king has a little cross on
yeah,
its head. Yeah,
that was stupid. I confused
that's
your
all right.
queen for king. I'm like, I can't believe he's doing this. What? Okay, go ahead. It's been a
That's
while
funny.
since
That's funny.
yes.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. This is a warm up, right? Well, we'll have a rematch right after this. But so when it comes to a debt fund, it's really simple. What you do with the preservation of capital component is all covered by LTV, or loan to value. In other words, if the collateral, like if the collateral's worth like $500,000, something like that, then you just make sure that you don't lend more than $350,000, and then you've got a 70% LTV. So the idea being is, if for some reason the borrower just can't or won't make their payments, then you have a clear path to making your investors whole and meeting your returns in the form of foreclosure. Now, of course, that's only possible if you are in first position. So if you're a mezzanine lender or something like that, that's not possible. But that's really the short version of the business model of a debt fund, and I think it's an interesting approach. And I'll tell you, they didn't really talk about any of that stuff when I was in my mentorship in commercial real estate. But as far as you guys go, you're looking at house flipping. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself more or less. So, but to be really frank though, Chad, you did open by saying that you could talk about mobile home parks for days and days and days. Where do you want to take it? What do you want to talk about when it comes to real estate?
Well, the primary mission was to reach out to you, was to promote Bright Harbor and what she's going, but my thoughts, if I knock it out, my BHAG, you like BHAGs?
Big, hairy, audacious goals. Yep.
Is help her get this spooled up. And from what I'm seeing from home flipping business is that's going to work. I'm not sure. But that move.
Looks
What
not
I'm saying from home flipping business is it's not as intense. It's like not as many people and stuff. You get crews and you can run it with a few people. So I think she can do 4 home flips a month with just a few people without. It's not as many moving parts, and sourcing deals is a hell of a lot easier. I'll tell you that too. But
Yeah, I bet. It's
my dream.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, say go ahead.
Is polish this up, and then I have this empty 506C sitting there, so I'd really like to use it. And I've got a few people pretty interested, saying they're ready us some good checks. So down the road, I want to get 2,000 lots or more. I'm at 200 right now, and I just can't wait to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and to be in the top 100 owners, it's so fragmented in the mobile home park industry that you can do it with only a little over 600 spaces will get you there. Not even 700 spaces last time I checked. So it's best setup I've ever seen anywhere in my life. I think it's the best investment anybody ever see, just because of the economics behind it and the demand for affordable housing, the barriers to entry, and on and on and on. But yeah, down the road, I really want to expand that business, and the shell's there, ready to do it. So when I can, I'm gonna hopefully present a really nice, clean portfolio to our investors and show them what we got, and go from there.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, my first chunk of education in real estate was in the single family segment, and that was because on the tech side, all roads lead to real estate, and I ran into a little bit of an issue where I'd be in the board meetings for the Ohio flipper
Okay.
firm that I was working with, and then what would happen is we'd be trying to figure out how to find more growth, and eventually it was just crickets. Like there was just no conversation going on at all, and I felt bad for the boss. And how am I going to do this? Yeah, I guess I'm going to do it this way. You can have that night if you want.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's what I was trying to do is I was trying to help out and go. It's like, okay, well, how can I like what can I figure out? And so I ended up going, all right, well, I better find out how flipping works. And I also actually, if I do that, do I want to do it that way? Well, yeah, all right. I'm going to be a bully and do it this way.
Yeah, as soon as I did that, I realized it was stupid. It wasn't the setup I thought it'd be.
Well, it's a warm up. It's fine, right? So that's what I was trying to do. Is cause, yeah, because I knew about I knew that there was going to be plenty of regulation involved in real estate. So that's also why I've never bothered. My background is from my last apartment in Taiwan. I lived in Taiwan for 15 years. But I live in Canada right now, and I never bothered to pull the trigger on anything in Canada just because if I had exposure to somebody like my old boss who he was flipping, he would do about 10 single family house transactions a month for almost the entire 6 years that I was working for him, and so that basically made me go, it's like, all right, well, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Like, let's just, follow his lead. I don't want to have to contend with any weird laws that are quirks of being in Canada. So that's basically the story of how I got into all this.
That's
Maybe
cool.
we'll do it this way. But so anyway, so that's why I ended up making that choice as far as uh, of getting into real estate is because I was going like, well, how on earth is my boss able to pay me what he's paying me? Oh, that's cool. I can do this.
Dude, you smoked me. Good for you.
I'm in practice, but as I said, it's a warm up. We'll do a rematch after this. If you want to, okay. So I've been neglecting my wonderful audience. I don't know, but my favorite audience member is actually the one who's watching today. I don't know if you're aware of this, but what's going on right here is now it's illegal for him to move his rook, and my bishop isn't worth as much as the rook, so that's why I was excited about this little move, and that means he's going to be down to his final pawn when I got a pair of rooks here to finish that off. So,
Well, no. Maybe
yeah,
we should
yeah.
run
So,
out
so
two screens here.
well, yeah, that would work as well. But yeah, that's
On the mic.
that's what I like to do. I like to have the conversation. But anyway, how rude of us. Well, while Chad figures out another move or two, how about you, Jen? Do you want to share a bit more about what you're up to and what is driving you towards single family flipping?
Um, it's something I've thought about for several years. I actually started looking at flips I don't know, 2020. So not too long ago, but regardless, it kind of caught my attention and my interest, but I just wasn't sure how to get in it. I would go look at homes, and that's where it ended. I didn't have any investors. You know, I didn't have any cash providers. I had no money. I had no idea where to start. So then, fast forward several years, and now we kind of got to a point in our careers where we enjoy our jobs, but we don't want to have to work. We want the option to. If we don't want to work, we don't want to be forced to go to work in order to pay our bills. And with him already being in mobile home parks, it just kind of helped me kind of propel this business forward. Um, and so that's what we're going to do is, he's going to keep on helping me with the flipping business, and eventually he's going to step away while I continue to flip homes, and he focuses more on mobile home parks. But obviously, there's still going to be overlaps, and there already has been as we network and we try to talk to other people. Like he's trying to get some money for his parks, yet some of these people are also willing to, be cash providers for my business as well. And so it's nice to kind of have that overlap and to have these contacts that we're sharing with each other as well.
Yeah, that makes lots of sense. Lots of sense. So good stuff. So I'm setting up for a ladder mate here. Is what I have in mind, which
This
is
is
where you
called.
just kind of alternate between the two of them back to the back row. But I always love people with perseverance. But if you want to hit resign, we can start the rematch.
Oh,
It's up to you.
all right. I'll watch you
Yeah.
stab me in
Yeah.
the heart as I'm dying. Let's do it.
All right. Good stuff. Okay. So let's like that. Yeah. So okay.
See how he just
Yeah,
boxes me.
and I'll preview. There you go. All
Oh,
right. And rematch. There we go. Okay. So zero blunders, it says. Okay. So there's a little pop up for the rematch, so we can continue on here. So let's talk about buy box then. So is it all local to where you guys that you're going to be focusing for your single family flips?
So that's exciting for us. Pretty exciting. So we've been going all over Jacksonville and learning the markets. Not well enough, but we love Amelia Island. I think there's great opportunity there. And
mhm.
Fernandina Beach, across the bridge, Yulee maybe, and then just kind of the northeast area is more our target market. But we're willing to go downtown and back because
To Jacksonville.
we end up going down there all the time anyway.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I feel like that's really broad.
Yeah, so we just found our target market, and we got a little bit more MLS data to look at just for inventory and stuff,
Hmm.
what's going on in the economy right now. But you get that on there so I can read that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the website?
Yeah. So you're setting up for the rematch. Is that what's going on?
Here, why
Yeah,
don't you
sorry.
airdrop this to me?
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So our buy box has been narrowed down to that. There's some super exciting markets in Dallas, and we have a second residence.
Hmm.
So we're more here, but we're between the two, and we're trying to get this spooled up and then go to Dallas. Our buy box right now has just been anything that made sense in numbers that would get us in the door, and we're
Hmm.
just narrowing it down. But at least we have a target market and kind of the standard home flip formula. You're doing with your number 75% of the ARV minus repair cost.
Gotcha.
So
Hmm.
we're finding wholesalers are, of course, they want to push those numbers because it works for them. That's how they make money. But the more off-market deal flow we can get right now by ourselves, I think the better.
And so how many beds are we talking in general, or are we talking like B class areas, C class areas? What are you thinking?
I feel like this is more
Yeah.
higher end, especially Amelia
Well,
Island.
not high end here. We're doing like middle class homes, little
Yeah.
upper middle class homes. The one we have is
Right.
going to list for 415.
Hmm.
Not
So it's I did something in a really high crime neighborhood once before, and it was my worst idea ever. So I've never.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's something about like COVID or something. I just think that it's just worse news to be getting involved in those sorts of areas. I see more and more people getting burnt, and I think that well, there's definitely a PR problem with being a landlord in the first place. Uh, because I think most people, they have no idea what percent of the cash flow goes to insurance and the bank and all that kind of stuff, and how like basically one vacant month, that can wipe out months worth of revenue really, really easily. So, but there we go. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get that
We are.
that rematch. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I'm sorry it's taking so long. It's just we have a second computer, so it's
Use your device.
Okay, so maybe I need to send you another challenge link.
I don't think
I'll,
so.
Oh wait.
oh.
Okay, we're in.
Oh, you are?
But
Okay.
sign-
I'll hit rematch again if that.
No,
No, it
someone-
didn't like that.
Yeah,
So
see
I'll
right
hit
here.
play again.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
Oh, we're good. Yeah, we're in the homepage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll send you another challenge link then. Create challenge link.
There you go.
Unrated.
We got it, man.
15.
Oh, that's not him.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, I think I. Oh, you're playing against somebody else. You can still abort.
Yeah, abort it.
Okay. Yeah. So I got a new challenge link in there,
Sorry, man.
and that's
Where is
no problem. No problem. That's why we edit these things.
Well, it'd be a lot better with two screens because we're talking to you, but we can't see you, right? Because we're switching between windows.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I have the second screen over here, so that's why I keep on looking over. But I actually do use hand-eye coordination to watch my StreamYard screen here.
There was an inbox there.
Oh, there was.
Maybe right there.
Do you need me to email you the link? I can do
Yeah,
that if it's
Oh,
easier.
okay.
Can you click on that? I think.
No, that's your chestnut.
Oh, unread.
Yeah, I can send you a new challenge link.
Okay.
Yeah. Paste, send. Okay. The Gmail address now has an email with the challenge link in it. So if you're logged in, it should
Gotcha.
right
Thank
up.
Matt. Thanks for your patience.
No problem.
You want to talk? Now
right
I can
there.
figure this out.
Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Okay. I think we're getting it all
Alright.
set up. So.
All right. So then, as far as like as far as these, you're thinking full out flips. You're not thinking any short time rentals, no Airbnbs, anything like that. Is that right?
I say,
No Airbnb.
no, but we're open to rentals. If
Mhm.
we do a flip and we see the potential for a rental, it's going to be, worth our time and the money for it, then we're definitely open to that. I know.
I love it.
And we were talking to someone today, actually, just before we came on here. We were having lunch with her, and she was saying it's really hard right now with the market. The house that she just flipped has been sitting for 60 days and still hasn't sold. So I know that's something we're going to have to consider with our future houses when we decide like how much time we think that it's going to take. I feel like we're going to have to add on more time just to kind of have that buffer. Of course, if a house sells faster than that, that'll be awesome. But if not, at least we've have it planned in case it doesn't sell right away.
Those are great points, and I think it's so important to emphasize the risks involved. And so frequently you'll hear people talk about, this is, the most risk-free or whatever approach to real estate, and so much of it comes down to when you're making an acquisition, you have to have multiple exit strategies. So, if it does make more sense to rent, it makes more sense to rent. If it makes more sense to wholesale it or fix and flip it, you gotta have that system in place where you can pull that off. I know that basically most of the circles that I interact with are looking for truly passive income, and so one of the ones that has come up in my past that I did some serious research on was investing in tax liens. And the nice thing about a tax lien is that it's legally, it's forced to be passive. You're not allowed to go bug the person who owes the taxes. So that means that you are definitely going to be passive. But at the end of the day, like especially like when during lockdown and things like that, the only people who were really getting behind on their taxes were people who knew that the property wasn't worth what they owed in taxes. So there's plenty of opportunity to get burned, and it's really important to know wholesalers, know fix and flippers, where you can cut your losses a lot lower. But how are we doing over here on the second screen?
How simple things sometimes become a huge headache.
It might be in social or promotions.
It should just be that link. Can you send us at Bright Harbor? Can you send us a link to
Yep.
Bright Harbor Homes?
at
Yeah,
Gmail.
I already did.
Oh,
To the Bright Harbor Homes.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
oh, what the hell?
So somehow we have our two accounts are like mixed into one.
It's not working.
Okay,
Here.
yeah. So it's the Gmail one is the one that I sent it to.
They're both Gmail.
Yeah, it should be in there. It's not.
So,
did
yeah,
it
we
go
have-
to junk?
Yeah, or I could shoot it to LinkedIn if that makes life easier.
Oh,
You're already
yeah.
logged in there.
That would
yeah,
be great.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll be easier.
Okie dokie. Here she is, and send. There you go.
Thanks. Hopefully this works. If not, we'll just go back to the not looking at you while we're talking.
Okay. But then here's my LinkedIn is on the other browser.
I know mine.
Okay. No, you
Wait,
sent it to
who's-
me.
Oh,
My link.
Yeah, I sent it to her.
here. What's your
LinkedIn.
link?
I don't know. That's why it's on the other browser.
I'm back with a second screen. Oh, and it has me as white again. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So so now, yeah, you got. I think you got 30 seconds to make your
You're-
move again.
Kill me. I take so long to chest
Learn
if I
from the
do it.
previous
Yeah.
game. Okay.
We'll see.
Right.
Learn from the previous one.
All right. Talk to
I'm just gonna go ahead and start like this,
Oh, I see.
which it's not that different from what I was doing before, but you know, it is.
Well, what are you doing, Dan, exactly? Like, what do you do on a daily basis for your like investments or your fund?
Yeah. So usually I have to do ridiculous things for attention on the internet.
Play chess.
Yeah, like playing chess. It's funny. So when I first got started, my first big thing that I was up to was I ended up. I'm sponsor dependent, and because of my tech background, that's where I was focusing to start. And so because of that, I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do as far as like I knew that I was also a little bit uncertain about the idea of real estate. Like you know, is it ethical to be a landlord? And the good news is, yeah, it is. You need to like it definitely you definitely need to do some thinking to know all the ins and outs and how it works. But how do I want to do this? Yeah, it's a really interesting opening that we got going here. But anyway, so what I ended up doing is I knew that I liked interviewing people. I figured that that would be a big piece of what I actually wanted to do. And I guess I can do it this way. But I knew that the people I'd want to interview, sometimes they'd be my direct competition. And fortunately, I found a way to, you know, completely alleviate that. But the way that I ended up setting that up was I wrote a book, and it's called Figure It Out. And I was one of the biggest problems, of course, when you're getting into deciding to write a book is like there's a gazillion books out there. So what on earth, you know, is there left to write about that hasn't already been done better, so to speak? And the one that I thought where my contribution would be significant at least was in attention to detail. And the reason why I figured attention to detail, there's a couple reasons. One of them is I noticed that everywhere I worked, I've had a pretty eclectic career as a whole, especially from living in Taiwan. You know, like I ended up doing, I even did some translation work for the Taipei government for some of their special events, including some translation work for a Buddhist group, like all kinds of really, really unusual things, right? And so because of that, let's see here. So if I do that, then I'm hanging that. Yeah. All right. We'll go with that. But what I found is, regardless of what company I was working for, we'd try to hire for attention to detail, and we'd never find it. You know, like basically like people being ultra meticulous. You know, dotting their I's, crossing their T's. It was pretty hard to wind up finding, and so that's why I was like, okay, well, between that and the fact that I'm also a programmer, And when you're programming things, especially with the stronger languages, yeah, with the
Dude,
stronger
come here.
languages. I'm ruining your plan here. Is
Yes.
that what's going on? Yeah.
No, I just realized
The
y'all.
yeah, but anyway, yeah. So when you're programming in hard languages, then if you make a mistake, the thing just breaks. And so that's why I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm the guy to write a book about attention to detail. And that's what I called it Figure It Out because I was figuring that's what people need to do if they're making a big life change. Like me, I was a very private person, like all of my privacy settings on every single form of social media, they were just cranked. So YouTube wouldn't remember my history. Um, there's not a whole lot of
Maybe
good
it did
moves on
something.
that one.
You don't even know.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
You know who has amazing attention to detail that I've always thought about is Walt Disney.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Fair
one of
enough.
my stepdad's best friend in life worked directly for Walt Disney and helped open up Disney World. And it's fascinating listening to this guy. I love it. And when you go to the parks, you can see all the attention to detail everywhere. It's cool.
Yeah, the Imagineers. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's good stuff. I've seen some specials on that. It really is something uh, that they put together. I had the good fortune, like this is why I love podcasting, because you just never know who you're going to run into. And one person who I interviewed was Dermot O'Connor out of Ireland, and he was one of the animators for I think it was the Aladdin video game and possibly like the Lion King video game, and the animation was fantastic. So, but he would do actual like cartoon animation, and we crossed paths because you saw it, huh? All right. Um, but yeah, I saw a little bit of a wince there. I'm like, oh, okay. So you knew it was coming. But anyway, yeah, it's really amazing. He was he created some courses that are available on LinkedIn and on animation, and so I'm like, all right, well, fine, let's reach out and let's interview him. And the Figure It Out interview series, I call it the Dream Job series, and it was to going along with that same pattern of people reinventing themselves. The Dream Job series was interviewing anybody who has some sort of enviable career. Oh, I could really mess stuff up this way, couldn't
Oh, you're
I?
gonna.
Okay.
I haven't played chess in so long. You obviously know
You
a
said
lot
you
more
could
than I.
play it.
I can play it. Didn't say I was good at playing it, but I'll tell you what. I know you can't multitask because of my experience with my job in the airlines. I've been flying jets around for 20 plus years, so you can't multitask, but you can switch quickly, and women are better than switching than men. But what I love, you said you were looking for a couple as a team. I
Mhm.
can focus here, and she can hear everything you're saying. I only get half of it, so
Oh
it's
yeah, and I'm
like
more focused.
our two brains together are bigger than two brains. It's like you get 2 plus 1 equals more than two at that point. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's actually been a point of contention I've had with a few people in my network. Is they say no, you're just switching attention. But ever since I was a teenager, I actually learned that you can practice multitasking. And what I do, for example, is like if I'm creating, so what you do is you do tasks in parallel, and then your attention is in doing both things at the same time. So, for example, when I'm making a cup of espresso, I will be cleaning the little hamper, the basket at the same time as I'm refilling with water or something like that. My two different hands will literally be doing different things at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm also a Buddhist, so I chalk it up to a form of meditation, quite frankly. It's a form of mindfulness where you're deliberately focusing on multiple things at the same time. I didn't say it's easy, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's possible.
Well, it's cool what you're saying. She,
We love Buddhism.
yeah, meditation,
Yeah.
like through stresses in life. I don't really get much out of counseling, but I get so much out of meditation. And I have a favorite monk even that I just love. He's all over YouTube, but yeah, meditation is good stuff. And I first started believing in it because I started reading articles from doctors and stuff, and it's really effective. Like I'm surprised at how effective it is. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. And of course, there's a lot of people have different ideas on what constitutes meditation. Like some people think that just sitting there and being quiet, like thinking about your day is meditation, when it's definitely not.
Yeah,
Um,
I had no clue what it was until the Headspace Guide to Meditation on Netflix this month talks about his life story and walks you through it. And I was already primed by these doctors. I'm like, whoa, this is good stuff. But I didn't really understand it until I went and sat in front of a monk and listened to it. And then it's like, if there's a meditation talk, it's worthless to me now, because if it's not a monk in robes at this point, I'm like, well, you're not the real Santa Claus. What are you doing here? Like,
oh my God, that is so funny. That is so funny, and it reminds me of one of my funniest stories of when I first moved to Taiwan. Because and here's the thing. So one of the things that I did to promote the Figure It Out series, the Dream Job series, where I'd have people with these enviable jobs come on, I'd have a recurring theme of asking, how do you achieve what you've achieved if you've got no friends, no family, and no cash? Okay, like what sort of personality traits do you have to eliminate? What personality traits do you have to cultivate? And I've been very fortunate through that process to meet more people, just animators. Like there's a Broadway opera performer that I was able to interview, one of the pilots of Marine Force One.
oh, nice.
The president's helicopter. So he's flown a couple of presidents already. Different things like that. And one of the craziest things that ever happened to me, it's not really a dream job thing at all, but to promote Figure It Out, this is the link to that part of the conversation. To promote it, I put out these different pieces of content where I was really testing the algorithm. And I mentioned before that I'm sponsor dependent. And what I mean about that piece of the puzzle is I knew that I'd have to rely on somebody who was basically paying the bills until I got enough of a nest egg for myself to really be doing everything independently. And so I knew that they were going to be just as human as anybody else, and I was concerned that they'd go and get themselves canceled. So what I did is on my YouTube channel, I released 366 pieces of content, 366 topics in 366 days and 366 videos.
Wow.
And once I got far enough in that,
That's cool.
once I got far enough in that, I was like, okay, well, I guess nobody is ever going to be able to consume all of this content. So that means I can kind of do whatever I want, including try specifically to get canceled. and so I tried about just about everything, and so that's why telling this story is actually going to be okay, because on the surface, even the experience felt racist, like super duper racist. Okay, within about a month of living in Taiwan, I saw something that I think is on everybody's bucket list, especially if they're a little bit anti-establishment. I saw a monk in a fight in the street with a cop.
With a cop? Oh
With a cop. And I said that this is like a little bit racist seeming.
Unreal.
And the way that right, and in the back of my head, like I said, it was a bit racist, but in the back of my head, I had this one thought as it was happening, and I'm quickly like thinking to myself, no, you're not allowed to think that. That's racist. So after seeing it, I turned around to my secretary at the school I was working at, and I said, "You're not going to believe what I just saw," right? And I told her, and then the Taiwanese secretary said exactly what was going through my head. It was like, "So, did he do a bunch of kung fu and shit?"
Was he a Shaolin?
Yeah, exactly. Which of course immediately makes it not racist because it's like, well, hey, if it's her own culture. But and actually, the monk was doing one of these, so it was like the least inspiring fist fight I think I've ever seen.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
And maybe that's my Canadian side, like watching too many hockey fights. That's coming out right there. But yeah, but at least it was that was a thing, and man, did it happen. It
That's
was
fun. I would love to see that. Talk about stuff you see every day, right? Nice win, man. You're way better.
exactly. Well, thank you, and we can do some reviews some other time. But let's make sure that everybody in the audience knows how to reach out. I'm really easy to find, especially on LinkedIn. I got this distinct last name, and so LinkedIn is where I spend most of my time. If you want to appear on this show or one of my other podcasts, we can make it happen. Jen, I know that maybe you want to change your name to include it, or I can put it in the description of the video here, but LinkedIn is the best way to reach you. It's not through email or another website or something like that.
Or email. LinkedIn or email at brightharborhomes@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's our company's Bright Harbor. So, like she said, brightharborhomes@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody wants to contact us, I'll put it out there. My phone number, this is my cell phone, 303-590-5590. If you want to talk about real estate or any of this stuff or mobile home parks, you can find us on the web at MHP, like Mobile Home Park, investors.com. The website's old. We'll get back to updating it later, but it's got a lot of great material. And what else? You want to give out any other info for contact? Or is that enough? I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
I'm working on being more active on it.
Excellent. And that brings me to my public service announcement. It's not for you two, it's for you in the audience. If you've been watching this episode and experiencing searing pains in your eyeballs, maybe like migraine-like symptoms, I'm confident it's because of the downright hideous subscribe button that's just down there, and you can hit it for free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it should be like out of your life. You won't have the... But full disclosure, I want people to hit the subscribe button just so those deadbeats at YouTube start to pay for these videos instead of me. I think that would be really amazing. The only trade-off to you is my videos might show up on your list of suggestions, but you can feel free to ignore those suggestions. I just appreciate the fact that you spent this time with me. Just like Chad and Jen, this has been great. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us, man. And I'll subscribe for you.
Nice. That's a ticket. Yeah, be like Chad and Jen. Awesome.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Does nothing but put more money in the pot.
Right.
If we talk about just the investor side, I mean, Shane talked about the sponsor side a little bit. I'll talk about the investor side. Okay, so you want the most money in terms of return with the least risk. All right, you want to do it yourself, you can go get 13 or 14%. You're going to do all the underwriting, it's not going to be passive.
If you bet, probably not.
I think I'd have to bet at least 2,500 before they fold.
And the pot is
4,000.
4,000. Yeah, I think you're right, but I'd rather just check.
Okay.
First position, you have the right of collection and the right of foreclosure or sheriff's sale, wherever you're at.